Hey, we're going to tie a wiggle leech pattern today. It's using wiggle tube, and this is wiggle tube. It's a soft tubing, totally bends really freely. Okay. This is a frosty white color, and all we're going to do is, because you can't tie directly on this tube because it just compresses way too much. I'll just zoom in for a second. If you were to tie on it, it just totally compresses like a rubber band. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take some small Scandinavian plastic tubing, and we're going to give it a needle tip, like a syringe, okay? And we're going to place it right inside the wiggle tubing. Now the wiggle tubing, you just got to give it a bit of a wiggle until we get it on about, well, over a quarter of an inch for sure, right inside. Okay, and then we'll leave probably about an inch out front. And with wiggle tubes, the reason we like using them so much is because when your hook is set back here, your hook has the freedom to move all over the place. Great for leech flies. We use them for leech flies for really big trout. Salmon, of course, too. And I'll just show you what I mean by that hook. Just need to find a hook here. There we go. There you go, found a hook to take a look at now. This is a size 4 egret hook, and you can see the best thing about wiggle tube is, first of all, the wiggle tube goes right over the hook. You don't need a junction tube. So if you can just imagine a pattern on this now, you can see that the wiggle goes right into it. Okay? And the hook now has the freedom to, move all the way around, lots of flexibility. That's why we like the wiggle tubing. Okay, now we're ready to go. Got the vice adapter, and the best thing about the wiggle tube is, one of the best things is when you put it into your vice adapter and you compress it, you can see it all kind of bunches up here, which is just fine because we're not tying on the wiggle tube. Where we'll start tying is right onto the connection between the wiggle and the small Scandinavian tubing. So I'll start by compressing it down onto the liner tube. Again, I'm going with quite a bit of force there to make sure it's really attached. I can see here if I zoom in, if I was to tie right onto that wiggle tube, it would be stuck on my mandrel and you would not be moving it. But it is tied right into the Scandinavian tubing now, and that's where I'm going to do the tying of my fly. So this purple Flair leech, we call it, it's a really easy pattern. It just takes some long hackled tips and a little bit of schlopping, and you get a pretty amazing looking leech pattern. Doesn't look so good when it's not wet, but when it's wet, it's fabulous. I'm going to start by taking 3 large purple hackle. And if they've got a bit of a curve to them, it's really no big deal, because once the actual curve of them in the water, when you pull on it, of course, it'll look straight like a leech, and then when you let go, it'll kind of flare up and almost give a pulsating, which I think helps the effect of a leech, but just an attraction to the fish anyway. In general, it works. Okay, so we'll tie in one, and then on the other side of the tube, another one. And underneath we'll tie another one. Like I said, this fly is extremely easy to tie. And you can see these feathers are bent all over the place, which is fine. Another good use for this wiggle tube is pike flies, actually, with crazy big profiles. Okay. At this point I'm going to add a little bit of flash. Got some pink Flashaboo. I'm going to tie it really long, almost as long as the hackle. Okay, a few strands. There it is. Okay, I'm going to go in now with some purple schloppen. This is where you kind of build up the bit of the bulk and the body of the fly. I mean, this fly is 90% all tail, but do need a little bit of body. We like to cut it so this isn't really even purple, it's more of a claret color. I'm going to tie with lots of the the fluff still in it. Okay, so we'll tie it in. And just slowly moving forward as we comb it back. Okay, at this point we're going to do the same thing with the hackle tips, except this time we're going to throw in pink. Now of course the color combinations are completely up to you, but this purple one we've had a lot of luck with. We've also got kind of a hot pink and orange version too, but purple's my #1 leech fly. Leech color, I should say. Okay, again we're going to go 3 just like we did with the purple, tied around the tube. And if they look all weird and sticking out, that's not a problem. The best thing about tying these is it's not a lot of skill or finesse to get the, until you get to the head and you have to kind of clean everything up. Otherwise you're just kind of stacking feathers and winding schlopping. Okay, so we've got 3 more feathers there. We'll add just a touch more flash. Okay, it's kind of on the other side. Okay, at this point we'll go in with another purple schlopping. Again, leaving a lot of the fluff on it. You'll notice now too I'm tying right onto the Scandinavian tube. I've actually gone right off of the connection where they both met, which is good. It'll give me a smaller head in the end. Okay, at this point I'm going to add another schlopping feather, this time pink though. And I'm also going to add 3 more purple hackles. This is also a great fly to get rid of your the hackle tips that you wouldn't use, for making wings of standard patterns and things like that. It's a great way to get rid of the bent ones, or the kind of goofy looking ones, because that's what you're shooting for on this one, or that's what we're shooting for when we designed it anyway. I guess only the fish can tell, right? And we'll tie them all the way around again like before. Okay, we're just about done here. Just give you a quick zoom out so you can see what I mean. Oops. Got some crazy hackle just kind of flying all over the place. It almost resembles one of those saltwater squid patterns, but trust me, when this is wet and when you're stripping it in, it all collapses into one nice smooth fly, and then when you let go, or a little bit of slack, kind of opens up again. And I think that's the key to this one. Anyway, let's finish this off. Okay, we're going to finish this off with a collar of pink mallard. Use teal as well. We like mallard though because it's even a bit longer than teal. I think we can never go wrong on the color of a fly with that barred look. So we'll just pull the mallard from the tip. This is quite a large feather. I'm going to try and go as many wraps as we can just to give it that final pink look. Okay, and we'll pull everything back and make this thing look presentable. This head's a little bigger than I would like it to, but you know, for the type of fish, really predatory fish that will be going after this, I'm not too worried about it. You know, as always, I just wet the fly a bit to see what it might look like. Now, we actually do have some friends and customers that put jungle cock on this. It's not necessary at all. In fact, I'm going to skip it. Okay, and we'll trim it up. Melt a nice lip on the end. And there it is. We'll just try to show you the size here. See, it's a good 4 or 5 inches long, that fly. And again, when you hold up the tips, you can see the tips are just all crazy bent all over the place. That's what we're shooting for. Right, we'll just glue this up. And that's it. Really easy tie on a wiggle tube, but very effective fly. That's it.